Another edition of JLJ After Dark. I'm James Lott Jr. We're talking savings bonds. I can't show you. Got a bunch of savings bonds. I'm showing you the backs of them. I can't show you the front. It's a piece of the front. Is that 50? Piece of the front. Savings bonds that we had found that were my grandmother's that were left from my mother. Do you remember savings bonds? Anybody remember those? I remember as a kid getting them from various grandparents, and I just knew that you're not supposed to cash them right away. I was the kid. Don't cash them right away. You put it in a bank somewhere, put it in a safe deposit box, or hold on to them somewhere, and then they're supposed to mature at some point, and you get the full amount or more. If you cash them early, you don't get the full amount. I never understood the whole thing when I was a kid. Well, they're kind of fun. They were kind of fun. I had some I spent all mine a long time ago. But we found some at this house. We knew they were there. We couldn't find. We found them. And so the question is, in 2025, what do you do with them? So I had to do some little research. So first, when I was looking up stuff, they were like, you have to figure out, are they a certain series? So, I'm crying about it. Are they an an E series, or a double E series? These are series double E. And I also asked what time period you got them from. And these are from 1985, 86. Oh, I got stuff in my eye. I got these allergies and stuff in my eye. 85, 86. All right, hold on. 85, 86. So we're talking almost 40 years. Well, 40 years ago, 40, 39, 40 years ago. So I was like, okay, what do we do with them? So I called my banks. Well, we all have either cards or bank accounts with several banks in my family. So I called mine, I called hers. My mother and I have we both are part of one same credit union, so I called them. Just for you notice, nobody take them. They don't take them anymore. Okay. But she was like, go to treasurydirect.gov or something like that. So I went, and you can do a calculator. So these things are fully matured. Let's say how much I got a bunch of them. But I get a form that's like a lot of pages. And all this information, you got to list all this stuff, have a notary, and all that. And then you send these in somewhere. That's the part that kind of kills me. Like, you just get to send them in somewhere. So I'm assuming I'll be using not just regular mail. I'll be doing like some kind of whatever. But you send them to the Treasury Retail Security Services in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Okay. I'm actually never phone them. I'm actually going to call them just to make sure, or whatever. But it's interesting. It's a whole process. But the point is, it's cash. It's tender. It's legal tender. And I think that's very interesting, and it's money we could use right now. Oh my God, trust and believe with all the stuff we have coming with the roof and everything. Um, but it was just interesting that back in the day, it brought up a bigger issue about saving. I had started college funds for a couple of my kids, my grandkids. I know about 529. I didn't know anything about that until later when a friend of mine did it for his godson, and I was like, oh. So I started these, for the kids, a little later than I wish I had started, but I found about them. And when I was a kid, piggy banks were big. Go to piggy bank. And I remember there was a place called Security Pacific. It's not there anymore. And there was Great Western, another one that's not there anymore either. We opened our accounts as kids. We opened savings accounts. And I remember, anybody got for your birthday, all that kind of stuff, you put it into that account to hold on to. I was taught about saving. I'll get points. My family was all about, you got to save the money. If you weren't rich, you got to save money. It's for later. Use it for something big. Use it for later. And I have to say, between the savings bond and stuff that I had, that did finance my first on my own. I left home. I had a job too, of course. and I took my final paychecks with me. But I did have a little bit of money in my account to land somewhere, just in case. Even though I went to my father and I stayed with him, but it's like, but I still had a little bit of money on me for things. And so that was kind of cool. So I mean, I was thinking nowadays, does anybody do that anymore with kids? Do they? I guess like so when a grandparent gave you a savings bond, yeah, you were like, oh, okay, but it was still money, so you were kind of excited. You're like, okay, can't wait till it gets to the right age for it. But it was still something towards your yes, treasurydirect.gov. It's something towards your future. It was still something. It's like almost like getting an inheritance or some stuff. So I was about nowadays. I have my two younger grandkids. My other grandkids are grown now. My two younger ones. One of the things I do is I give piggy banks out to everybody. And one of my nephews, apparently, my great nephews, he had a lot of money, and he literally put it into bank. Yeah, they said James, he put a lot of money in there, and people put money in there too. And then whenever I go visit, I put money in there too. But it was like he had a lot of money at one point. It was like he had a nice little healthy bank account. I was like, dang, okay. But I love that whole teaching because I have piggy banks everywhere. Big one, small. This is a small one. This one's coffee money. I guess get a picture of this for my coffee podcast. Just remind myself of that. Let me do it right now. This is so funny. You see, this is what I do. This is what we do late at night. Okay. I have a coffee. Buymeacoffee.com/James Jr. Visit me there. Listen to stuff. Buy me a coffee. Okay. Yeah, very good. Gotta have that here. But of size, shapes, and sizes, I have cans. I save my change. I have cans with change in them. There you go. Change in them. And I have so a long time ago, so in the 80s and growing up, I remember seeing my stepdad, my grandparents, my stepmom, my dad, they all had that's when bottled water came into play. The big bottled water you had delivered to your house. And back then we had the glass bottles, which are just like you can't find those anymore. It's in plastic. And in a big hole in them, and you throw money in there. And I said, I see, and I don't know if it's a cultural thing, but I know a lot of older black folks who did that. And the point was to fill it up, that you turn it in and put it into the bank or use it for something, or pass it on to somebody. Say, here you go, it's all yours. Um, and so when so they were just so when I became an adult in the late 80s, I started doing it too. Because I grabbed one of those things and just throw, jars. But I'm a big piggy bank person. So I like piggy banks places. So I had lots of piggy banks laying around. But jars too. And so it's really interesting. Um, Somebody just texted me. 1 second. It's after dark. 1 second. Yeah. Sorry, folks. Um, okay. So I started drinking too. I started drinking the bottle. So it was kind of cool to see. It was kind of like an art piece because the money was starting to rise and you have it in the corner. It's kind of cute. I started all like a lot of older black households. So I did that. Um, I cut 2 years later when I came back to LA about 16 years ago. I used to walk a lot. I talk about this. I have a book out, Lost Change, Found Money, Lost Weight, Found Change, or something like that. I wrote a book about it a long time ago. But anyway, so I talk about how I used to look at the ground and find money. Now you can't find no money. Everybody's poor. You can't find no money. But I look at the ground while I was walking, and it would help with the walk. And it would continually, it was, and I keep walking, and I find money. At the end of the day, I put it in to this big giant thing. So I filled it up over a year, did over a year, and I turned it in. At first, I was going to. Luckily, a lot of banks you can or companies you can put in the coin thing and it does itself. Back in the day, you used to have to wrap it right with the coin wrappers. Remember those? Remember those? It'd be fun. We all like late at night after dark. We'd all be sitting out rolling pennies and quarters and all that stuff. So I used to do that. But now you can put it in coin things and they count it for you. When I turned it in 1 year, I made $714. I'll never forget that number. $714 in 1 year found money. I put it in my account, and I didn't know what I used it for. I was like, I'm gonna use it for something. But I put it in my account, and I thought that was very cool. I did another year, so it was a lot of fun. It was like so. I don't know. Saving money is something that I like to do more. I wish I was better at it, but I know there's times when I have saved money that it has come in handy for me. Sometimes I mad money, a little side account somewhere, hide it, don't touch it. But I have some piggy banks that are full. I have some jars that are full. Let's hold on to them. But I have no reason to turn them in just yet. I might need you soon, but not yet. I'll hold on to as long as I can. But then also a little side thing. They're saying, I'll tell you, I had some spaghetti. They were saying though, they were losing pennies. You know, pennies and things. They were saying that everybody was holding on to their change. I remember this was years ago. They were like, turn in your change. We need to put it through the economy again. They need to recycle it through. Give us your change. I thought it was hilarious. I'm like, really? Okay. So then I did turn some in. I was like, here's some stuff. But now as we're going more cashless, I like cash. Cash. I mean, I know it's the pandemic. Cash is dirty. All the stuff. Um, but it also represents these um savings bonds represent a just different time, a simpler time. I don't know. It was a different time, and it was a very I'm a grandparent myself. It's a very grandparent thing to do, right? I don't know, just maybe smile when we see these. Just you smile. I'll keep posted on how it all works, how we're working on it. I'm James Lott Jr. Like I said, all this week we're doing JLJ After Dark. Next week will be JLJ this evening. You can go audio, listen, or if you're thinking, I want to see the video, I was just me talking. JLJ Media YouTube. See you tomorrow night.